Hi, my name is Erin Michele Soto. I'm an actress, and thank you so much for watching.
Welcome back, everyone, to another incredible episode of Chat with Dan. For today, what can I say? We have on the show the incredible, amazing, the badass, the legendary, the superstar, Erin. Erin, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for that awesome introduction.
Of course.
Yes, thank you for having me, amazing Daniel.
Thank you. What else can I ask for having an incredible, epic Saturday to be chatting with someone as badass? And you know what? Legendary as you. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Now, before we start, I do want to thank those who are watching. Thank you so much. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, follow, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think on the comments below. Without further more, let's jump in. So, Erin, tell me what's new. What's up?
Oh gosh, what's new? What's up? So you and I spoke. Gosh, it's been a few months since
Hmm.
last time we
Yeah,
spoke.
like three something around.
Something around there. I feel like a lot has happened since then. I've been doing a lot of both film and as well as theater
Yeah.
lately, and a lot of Shakespeare, and that's been wonderful. I've spent pandemic really. I mean, pandemic is. I don't want to say it's over because it's certainly not resolved. Um, but I took the time when things were shut down to really dive into Shakespeare, improve my craft as an actor
Yeah.
in general. I'm rewinding for a reason. Um, and I ended up doing 18 Zoom pandemic Shakespeare plays during that
Okay.
period of time.
Mm.
And because it was, either just sit at home and be bored or find something else to do. And in that period of time, I was, just was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And as well as other things, went to online acting class and, just kept busy doing a lot of other stuff,
Yeah.
as well as was on the series Studio City. But anyways, I did that. And so anyways, with that, I ended up auditioning for a Shakespeare company and called Riot Shakespeare, and I ended up doing Richard III.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's been wonderful. That was so much fun. It's a different type of Shakespeare company where literally you learn your lines on your own ahead of time. There's no rehearsals. You show up the day of and you perform the play live.
Hmm.
And it's a really um, crazy, fun, amazing experience as an actor and as a performer
Yeah.
because you don't you don't have to anticipate. You can't anticipate anything. You have to
Mm.
be in the moment. You have to be present. You have to be there, and the audience is there with you the entire time, and they're
Yeah.
supporting you. It's a sold out show every time. It's
Yeah, I bet. Wow. Wow. Okay. And is it like a little bit of a improv going on, or?
Not
No.
really. You're all well. You completely are on book. You have to say all of you're all up on book and stuff like that. But if
Yeah.
some like little moment happens where the audience is laughing or there's a funny something that happens, you could be like, and that's how Shakespeare goes. Like there could be something but it's certainly not improvised at all whatsoever. Everyone is you know these are these are Shakespeare
Yeah.
actor. Everyone is doing no one's sitting there going off doing their own thing.
Yeah, of course, of course. And how challenging, like, no, let me rephrase. Like, how was the whole experience to it? Like after doing a couple of shows here, like how was the whole experience for you?
For me, it was really nerve-wracking, thrilling, exciting, and I want to do more.
Yeah.
um it's I feel like the more challenging thing was that hadn't I've spent more time doing film and television lately, and I was just kind of like, oh yeah, I hadn't done as much theater lately, and I think that the feedback of, oh, there are zero rehearsals. This is live.
Yeah.
You can either go or fall, and the just kind of the moments behind that, and like, you know, going there. But once I was up there, it felt really like, the moment I got up there, it just felt like this is I feel good.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's true, like, the whole transition to it, right? I mean, I have, with some of the actors that I've interviewed, sometimes they were as, like you, for example, that they would focus a little bit on TV, things like that, and then jump back to whole theater tends to be like a little bit challenging, especially because you need to kind of once you play on theater, you need to raise your voice more. You need like to be more have like more mannerisms, like things like that, which some of them find it a little bit challenging at first, but later on they're like, okay, I'm good to go. So
Yeah. I don't think that you necessarily need to find more mannerisms if you're um present and in the moment.
yeah.
You just good acting, you just keep your arms by your side and are there.
Mhm.
Um and then as far as like um you know, yeah, you just kind of stay more there. I think that what was interesting though, because I did more theater after that,
Yeah.
I started going back into theater. I then went back to film, and I was like, oh yeah, I have to remember camera present. Here's the camera. So when you go back and forth between the two, the adjustments between the both, and reminding and recalling, and consistently being, cognizant of what's happening and where, and close ups and wide shots. And, you know, there's that fine balance of,
Yeah.
I don't want to say ignoring the camera, because you don't want to ever ignore the camera. You always want to be on, but I left and wanted to do theater to ignore the camera more.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then now I'm like finding that balance of like ignore the camera less. So yeah, it's this constant crafting of getting better and better as an
That is
artist.
amazing. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Now, let's say, that one day I want to start into theater. Now, based on my experience, which is zero, what do you think would be important for me to know before jumping into to theater?
Before jumping into theater is all about the voice. It's
Okay.
all about the voice, and w- what you say
Mm,
and how you say it and all those different things. I guess it depends also on the size of the theater.
totally.
If it's a small, intimate theater, 99 seats or less, it can be fairly similar to
Mm,
film and television. I'll say more television than
yeah.
film, because television is different. Film, it gets really tight.
Hmm.
Um, Although that is changing. It is changed because now TV can get really, depending on the show.
Totally.
Some of them are shot a lot like movies. Um, but they can, you don't have to speak really loud and, get crazy, projecting a voice and stuff like that. Whereas if you go to really big, you know, big theaters and stuff like that, you really have to like learn and focus on your voice and go to voice class. And those are definitely things where I know for me as an artist, that is something where I'm like, oh, my register, my voice, my vocal,
Mm,
all those
mm,
things. I'm like, I gotta, that's a muscle. You gotta really work on that. Like I gotta, you know, um, if I want to go do theater, like go to the theater, I am
yeah.
aware, I'm trained as an actor in the theater. And I know when I need to go get a workout, and when I need to go work my voice a little bit, like,
Hmm.
oh, I've been doing a bit of film and television, and my voice is not, I need to, I might need to go, work some voice a little bit, because
Yeah.
if I'm doing, so I haven't been at the gym.
Yeah. Absolutely. And like how challenging can be to kind of train back your voice into theater.
I think if you've had training before,
Mhm.
it's sort of like you haven't been at the gym and you need to go back to the gym. Um, so it's a little bit like that, where the muscles can be a little bit weak, but they remember, or you know what you're doing, or you have
Yeah.
cognizance, but it depends on how far out you've been, because they're just, I mean, it's literal muscles, like,
Totally.
so it's all of that. But if you have training and know what you're doing, and you have placements of where you are, um and knowledge, you can get back there.
Mhm, mhm.
So it's all just, you know, a literal kind of knowing.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely, and it's incredible, like, like, once you realize how important and delicate, like, the voice can be, that sometimes if you overdo it, it can really injure you into kind of a I remember this singer, I don't remember the name, but the singer was saying that for her album, she got surgery, I think twice, because she overdo it. She overdo her voice to a point that couldn't take it anymore. So she had to
Yeah.
take surgery in order to kind of get back to it. But even though it took more months to kind of recover, like little by little, going to kind of voice therapy, let's say, to kind of
Yeah.
get it like get it all back. And I once interviewed another, yeah, like a doctor who specialized also like in voice training and things like that, and she was telling me that that things like the things you're eating, how you breathe, like things that sometimes we don't even think about, might
Mhm.
influence, yeah, might give like a better develop to your voice or worse depending on it. So
Yeah. They can certainly dehydrate yourself, and that's something that I definitely want. Like, I can, for me as an artist, I can go more into
yeah.
vocal training. That's a part of, like, okay, if I were to just go to theater, I'd want to dive more into that, because,
Hmm.
you have to know your strengths and your weaknesses. And I'd be like, okay, I gotta focus on some, this is an area, like you said,
Totally.
diet. Like, okay, great, there's this. And then where do I go with my vocal training? I'm really great at placement. Placement is a strength that I have,
Hmm.
but there's the power aspect. So there's the placement aspect and there's the power aspect. And so, like, you have to focus on those two. The power aspect is a weakness of mine. Placement aspect is a strength of mine.
There
So
you go. There you go. And tell me, before going on stage, do you have like a ritual, or like something you kind of yeah, you usually kind of do to kind of to prepare your mind, let's say.
I used to have to go through a full training, like a full everything.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like I've had to just adjust,
Okay.
and learn how to just be ready, because everything changes every time. And I feel like every character and every process, like every character that I've been in, has been so different
Mhm.
that every process is now, like, I thought that I had one way in, and now, because I have experienced different characters, and also learned different techniques. So,
Mm.
because
No.
I don't have one technique. I've learned, the Michael Chekhov technique. I've learned the Steppenwolf technique. I've learned, well, Steppenwolf doesn't have one technique, but they do like viewpoints, and like they take a bunch of different ones. I
Yeah.
have improv. I have, just regular acting. I have on camera. I have, like, there's all these like different techniques and stuff. And then there's just, method. And then there's, but like method is a technique, but then there's like literal just people who say, I'm method. I just, so there's all these things that you can do, and tools that you can just pull up, and, stuff. And sometimes it's just, I'm following nothing. I'm just doing me,
Mm.
you know?
Okay. Mhm.
And because I feel like I've had that, and I'm like, I don't want to say I'm just throwing it away, but like, sometimes you just have to say, you know, I
Mhm.
don't
Mhm. And
know.
is it more challenging to release character from theater that playing a character for a TV show, things like that, or is it kind of the same?
Uh, I don't know. I guess it would depend on how long the run is, or how long you prepared, or how far, you
Mhm,
know.
mhm. Yeah, yeah, because I mean, some actors have told me that, for example, if you're playing this character on theater for a long time, it tends to kind of stick with you instead of playing one character for a film, TV show. You've done it, you're good to go, and that's it. But for theater,
Yeah.
since every time you're gonna perform, it's a new experience for the audience. You
Yeah.
need to always kind of bring like your 100% at the same time. You kind of learn, yeah, on the go, on the go, like new, like like new things that you could apply for your character for the next show here and there.
Yeah. Yeah. But it also, like, I mean, TV, I would think, yeah, but, like, for film, sometimes you're working on a character for a little while, or
Yeah.
if you're on a series for a little while, sometimes you do that. Or sometimes you just fall into something and it can happen really quickly and
Mhm,
you
mhm.
connect, and then there's something there and it just can resonate with you for a little while. Um, this short this project that I'm working on right now, there's two projects that I've been working on right now. And, you know, one of them, the prep work is really been with me. Like, it really, like, the whole entire time it was sticking with me and gnawing on me, and it really got to me. Like, it's just been with me the entire time, and
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much. I don't want to say I've been living the character, but there's been a part of the character with me this entire time
Mhm, mhm.
until filming. And
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that she and I were, like, kind of I was with her the whole time. Like, I've been carrying her with me for the last several
Yeah.
months. And as soon as we filmed, I was like, "Oh, that was her." Like, it I released her, and some of those thoughts as soon as I filmed her were released.
Mhm, mhm.
So that was interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And
So be
and
careful if you date an actor.
okay, I'll be taking that into consideration. Sounds like a plan. And tell me, like, yeah, moving on here, like a little bit. Let's talk about a little bit about those projects you just mentioned, and tell me, like, how, especially on the characters. Now that that you mentioned that as well, like how challenging was to play those type of characters, and at the same time, how difficult can be when you're playing something on something you lived in the past some time ago or things like that.
Um, I mean, some characters are easier, like lighter characters, happier characters are
Yeah.
much easier. Which is also why, like, sometimes if I'm like, hey, let's play romantic characters, let's play happy characters, let's play,
Yeah.
all of those, which, thinking this with I tend to play those, with this feature.
Mhm.
Um, Although opposites sometimes can happen. Um, I try not to play too dark of characters because of what, um, and I'm still working on like, the Michael Chekhov technique works on bounds on how to step in and out of character so it can keep your mental health good.
Yeah.
Um, uh, which is, if I played a really dark character like that, that'd probably be a technique that I would try to work
Mhm.
towards, because to go like method or something like that, you can go to a really dark place. Um, uh, but yeah, as far as how do I deal with those characters? Is that the question? I kind of got on a tangent.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes it's challenging. I feel like sometimes, you know, you don't even realize how much they're sitting with you until afterwards, or,
Mhm.
to like want to go on a vacation or sleep, or,
Mhm.
I feel like meditation, writing things down, you know, talking to people right now, I'm just kind of like, okay, these are some other placements that I'm still like putting in and figuring out and doing along the way. So
Mhm.
that's stuff that I was meditating a lot, and I am meditating now, but like as I'm in this finishing process of things, I'm certainly meditating a lot more. I just finished filming this last week right before strike.
Yeah.
um, and I've been meditating a lot. Self-care, Epsom salt baths, eating well, like, you have to do all of those things, sleep, rest. Um, Up to filming before, sometimes I don't always, that's the one thing is I was like, okay, there's not always the best self-care. And that's something that, is to be worked on.
Yeah. 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 I mean, it can take you to a very dark place if you don't put a stop to it, right? I mean, if you get yourself involved into this character you're playing. I mean, I see it that like once you're playing it, I mean, your mind can distinguish if it is real or not. I mean, your body, like your whole like what I'm trying to say here is that like your whole body is not gonna difference between what's real and what's not. I mean, you're playing that emotion, and it needs to look authentic, right? So I would assume that if you, as you mentioned, that if you don't take the proper self care every now and then, you're gonna lose your mind eventually.
Yeah, you definitely have to do self-care and identify emotions and know what you're dealing with and who, like
Yeah.
you have to make sure that you do proper, knowing reality and what's not reality and check. you
Yeah.
know, you can lose that and utilize technique. That's what technique is for and
Hmm.
is, for about and, like checking in on those things. Um, so yes, there is the importance of that. It is it is hard because your mind doesn't know the difference between what is real and like there is physical science between your brain does not know like if your body does not know because your body is experiencing
Hmm.
emotions as you're going through these things. So as I'm experiencing something on set or as I'm putting myself through an experience.
Yeah.
My body does not know the difference, even though my mind or Erin knows the difference that this is not real, but my body does not know the difference that
Hmm.
this is real. So
Yeah.
as I put myself something through something like this, the best I can do is the self care afterwards and, you know, just keep doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. And is there any kind of character that you would refuse to play because maybe the type of message it's not something that you believe in?
It would kind of depend. It would really depend on the role. Like I'd have to be sent the script.
Yeah.
I've been sent a few and I'm like, no. And then, people are like, "Oh, well, it's good pay or it's this." And I'm just like, you know,
Yeah.
I try to say yes to as much as I can, or I'll audition. And I've, you know, I've have put in a few self tape auditions where I'm just like, I, uh, I don't know if I want to accept this role if they offer it to
Yeah.
me. Um, it's and even if it has an overall good message, it's just like some things I just, you know, um just the what like and not there's a lot of roles that I will play, but there's just some where it's like I don't know, feel too dark.
Yeah. I mean, at the end, it's okay to have your nose. You're allowed to have your nose because I do think that sometimes, right, especially if you are starting out as an actor, you would go for it. I mean, you would say yes to everything without even knowing, but it is okay every now and then to say, like, you know what, this is not for me, right?
Yeah, yeah, you definitely have to find your what you want to do and what you don't want to do, and you're like,
Totally.
yeah, yeah.
And is there any type of role, for example, that you rejected, and then later on you were like, kind of like a little bit one like, yeah, kind of saying, well, I should have took it instead of rejecting it, or not at all.
I'm sure, like, I know that I have had a few, like, along the way. I'm like, okay, I should, just okay, say yes, say
Totally.
yes.
Totally.
Like, yeah, I can't think of any, like specific, like, but
Yeah.
there's definitely that fine balance.
Totally. Totally. Now moving on here and focusing a little bit about those projects. Tell me, what can we expect from them?
Um, oh gosh, so I'm there is I have a couple things. Well, I do have something coming up that I'm waiting to film, but we're waiting.
Totally.
Uh, and I did film a project called Wild Kate, um, and it's a Shakespeare project, but it's not just like your normal Shakespeare where you think, oh, it's dusty old Shakespeare.
Hmm.
It's set in 2023,
Okay.
and it's a updated version of Taming of the Shrew, and combined with 12-ish other Shakespeare plays, I
Hmm.
think. Um, and we're dealing with an important dating topic. So,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. And I play Kate. So,
All right. And is it like when is it gonna be released?
Well, we just finished filming on Sunday, and
Okay.
so there's a lot that has to go into it.
Absolutely.
We're still fundraising for post production, I believe. So
Hmm.
there's a bit of it's going to be a little bit, I
Yeah, I
guess.
can understand that. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it takes more. I mean, it's more than that what some people might think that you just film a project and then a couple of months is released good to go. I mean, like once you kind of investigate a little bit on the whole situation behind the scenes, you're like that sometimes even that can take even years to be actually released, because of so many
Yeah,
things you need to work on it, the editing, the funding or like all of
yeah,
that yeah, I can understand that.
yeah. Oh, I don't think it'll be years, but it's not going to be next
Yeah,
month. So
yeah.
yeah. And then the other project is Midsummer Night's Dream.
Mhm.
It's a small project. And that should be coming out. We're just doing some small screenings right now, and that should be out to the public pretty soon. It's just a little, um, fun prelude to what's happening.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. And I love the fact that you're working on it and you're making things happen. I that it's super inspiring to be honest. Like whenever, for example, if I'm just checking on Instagram and then to see like on your case, like a little bit of your stories about new things coming here and there. I mean, it is really inspirational because it shows everyone that that things actually can happen, that if you stay focused to it, things can happen eventually, which I do think that sometimes people might get discouraged, right? About the whole thing, that if they are following like following their dreams, that it tends to be challenging, but you're making things happen, and I think that's super impressive. So by saying that, my question is like, what message would you say to those who are thinking about quitting on their dreams?
oh gosh, to those who are thinking about quitting on their dreams, you know, don't. I mean, I say, go where your heart is. I
Yeah.
don't want to say don't. I want to say go where your heart is, because you know you can only go as far as it can take you in
Mm,
anything.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's my I was on a we were here. I was on a digital drama series called Studio City. We
Hmm.
won an Emmy,
That's badass.
and uh, it was 3 seasons, and it's challenging to go from something, and you're like, okay, what's happening, what's next, where do we go, and we're in the middle of pandemic, and you don't know what's with your next job or what's
Yeah.
going on, or that sort of thing. And you know, you're just kind of like, what is happening next? And then all of a sudden you start to find all these little like seeds of art and this and that, and like momentum starts to happen, and things are starting to go on my end, and I'm getting support from random places. Um, I was questioning, like, where is my heart? Where does my heart want to go? Where does it
Mm.
belong? And I've been meditating, and I drove past Universal Studios yesterday, and I looked up, and like literally my heart just got so excited.
Yeah.
My heart is in this. My heart loves this industry. My heart is like, I'm an actor, like I have people, my agents are calling me, and like there was a film that I was in that literally just lost some funding, but they're like, we believe in you. I believe in me. Like my
Yeah.
heart is here. And I say, like, if your heart is in whatever you want to do, keep doing it. But if your heart goes somewhere else, then go do that.
Totally.
Because you can't, like, it's in any industry, it's too hard to keep doing something that's challenging if your heart's not in it.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. That is true. And at the same time, you're not gonna discover it unless you try, right? Which I
Yeah.
do think that sometimes that is kind of the first challenge to overcome, to actually jump to it. Because I mean, you can never be 100% prepared for something, right? Like it does. Like you can learn, take classes, do your homework here and there, but at the
Mhm.
end, unless you do the jump, you're never going to be actually like 100% ready to do something, which I do think that sometimes people use that as an excuse that I'm going to do this until I learn this or until I do that. But once I learn that, another new thing comes up and they're like, oh, instead of like postpone it, just go, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is incredible. That is incredible. And let me just tell you that you're not just a regular actor, you're like a badass actor, just saying.
Thank you.
Absolutely, Erin. At the end, what can I say, Erin? I mean, as I was saying before, I love, like, I'm so in love with your career here, and I love the fact that you keep doing it, that you haven't gave up, because I do think that it is easy to quit, in like no matter what you do, always the easiest exit would be just to quit. But the fact that you keep holding to it, you're making things happen. You are doing, I mean, you did theater, now these two projects and more things coming out in the future. I mean, you're killing it here, and I love that because, as I said before, it's the proof that we all need to keep pursuing our dreams. And I do think that more people like you in this world, that we should focus on more people like you in this world, because you are showing us that everything is possible if you put, of course, your mind to it, and you put your heart to it, as we were saying before, because sometimes we tend to see, especially in acting, for example, or in films, that we will see this huge blockbuster film, then we'll see this actor nobody knew, and then there's like, oh, that's success overnight. But once you check on that actor, you're like, actually, this guy has been acting for almost 20 years. It was more than obvious. So I like the fact that you're showing us that everything's possible, and that's why I said you're like super legendary and badass, because it's challenging, but you're making it happen. So
Thank you. Yeah, that means a
absolutely,
lot.
absolutely. I also want to thank those who watch this. Thank you so much for staying in the whole time. Make sure to go follow Erin in her social media. On the description below, we're gonna find her social media. Let's follow her, as I said before. Hashtag Team Erin. She's incredible and she's badass. And Erin, again, thank you so much for making this happen. Keep killing it, but most important, keeping this incredible of amazing woman you always are. And I'll be seeing you in the next one.